features. Companion app, DSTV Stream.
Life in Denmark can be quite different for an African legend like Michael Essien. The weather, the food, the silence. But there's always a place we can call home.
Home is where your heart is.
And a super evening to you. Always a pleasure to welcome you to Iron Port. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Iron Port is brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Gold PLC, Serene Insurance, and the Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA, and our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, BNFT. In case you missed anything from this evening's discussions, get a Thursday edition of BNFT newspaper for all the insight. And remember, you can join us live at all our social media platforms. On Facebook, we're streaming live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, also at the Port of Tema, and on YouTube we're streaming live at Iron Port. Remember, you also get the opportunity to interact with us via our dedicated WhatsApp line 0538037353. We'll also open the phone lines in the course of the discussion for you to make your contributions towards the discussion. So get ready, let's do this together. I'll introduce my guest to you shortly.
Goal difference one off Bournemouth. Remember, Arsenal up to 22 earlier on with that one.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, Wubefi. Goil, good energy.
Everton haven't played badly.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Tell that my money too small, why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena. You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately. There you have it. Serena is not just a tool, it's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302-246319 or 0302-246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. Efiba is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
Welcome to the GPHA port of Takoradi, Ghana's first commercial port. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority (GPHA) has in its quest to position the ports of Ghana as the leading trade and logistics hub of West Africa, embarked on a massive expansion drive at its Takoradi port, the first commercial port of the country. This has resulted in a radical transformation of the initial 7-berth low-drafted port, which was constructed in 1928, to an ultra-modern port fitted with deep drafted container, multi-purpose dry bulk, and liquid bulk facilities. The 16-meter deep dry bulk terminal is the deepest in the sub-region, with a total quay length of 800 meters. It is fitted with a combined 3-kilometer length conveyor system, which comes with a 2,500 metric tons per hour ship loading capacity, which has greatly improved ship turnaround time at the port. The Marshall Liquid Bulk Terminal is a fully automated liquid bulk facility dredged to -14 chart datum and equipped with automated firefighting system. The facility is fitted with 5 loading arms for gasoline, diesel, LPG, bitumen, and heavy fuel. On the container side, Takoradi Port's 16-meter deep Yield-Port and ATSL container terminal with a quay length of 600 is expected to receive container vessels in the 3rd quarter of the year.
Scam alert. It has come to the attention of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority that certain unscrupulous individuals are fraudulently using the name of the authority to deceive and defraud members of the public. These individuals have circulated a post on social media falsely claiming that GPHA is currently conducting a recruitment exercise and urging the public to engage with them. We wish to state emphatically that GPHA is not conducting any recruitment exercise at this time, and the authority has not authorized any individuals or entities to advertise or facilitate such activities on its behalf. We urge the general public to disregard these fraudulent messages and to verify any official communication directly through our authorized channels. GPHA remains committed to transparency and will always communicate legitimate opportunities through its official website and recognized media platforms. And throughout the week, a lot has been happening at the port and the maritime industry. Here is what you missed.
The Ghana Transport and Logistics Fair 2025 has concluded at the Ghana World Trade Center in Accra, highlighting renewed efforts toward innovation, connectivity, and investment in Ghana's transport and logistics sector. The three-day event, held from the 22nd to the 24th of October 2025, under the theme Resetting the Transport Sector for Innovation, Connectivity and Investment, brought together key stakeholders across the transport and logistics chain, from road, rail, and aviation to the maritime and port sectors. Hosted by the Ministry of Transport and organized by Digital Eye, the fair served as a platform for both public and private sector players to network, exchange ideas, and showcase projects and innovations shaping Ghana's mobility landscape. Delivering the keynote address, President John Dramani Mahama reaffirmed government's commitment to strengthening transport connectivity and logistics infrastructure. He underscored that modernizing Ghana's ports and enhancing linkages to the hinterlands remain critical to trade facilitation and regional competitiveness.
We're also working with the Ghana Railway Development Authority to develop the various segments of the railway master plan. Already the Tema Akosombo line is in place. What is left is to build the port on the Volta Lake, and then to procure the barges that will move the containers and the goods from Akosombo to Bipe in the north, so that our northern landlocked Sahelian neighbors don't have to drive all the way to Tema to pick their items. They'll come to Bipe and pick them and continue.
The Minister for Transport, Honorable Joseph Bukari Nikbe, noted that the fair marked a significant step in Ghana's transition toward a technology-driven and sustainable transport system.
In the maritime transport, the rehabilitation of the Tema Harbour breakwater is ongoing to ensure vessel safety and operational efficiency. Additionally, the Ghana Shippers Authority is working to reduce port business costs through effective regulation of shipping services. Ladies and gentlemen, efforts are also underway to develop coastal water transportation to complement the existing road transport systems, with feasibility studies set to begin soon.
Chairperson of the event, His Royal Majesty Togbe Afede the 14th, Agbogbomefia of Asogli, praised the ministry and its partners for fostering collaboration among policymakers, investors, and innovators. He stressed that a well-integrated transport and logistics framework is essential to unlocking Ghana's industrial and economic potential.
Africa Continental Free Trade Area. That protocol has been signed by almost all our countries, the continent, is suffering from the lack of effective transportation, road, sea, air, rail links between our countries. That is why this initiative, our maiden transport and logistics fair, is quite an exciting one.
Also addressing the gathering, Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanya Kulono, outlined the authority's ongoing efforts to enhance efficiency and customer experience across Ghana's ports.
We are proud to be among the first agencies to institutionalize the 24-hour economy policy, ensuring that our ports remain efficient, continuous, and globally competitive. Our modernization agenda, from automation and digitalization to port expansion, is creating faster turnaround time, lower costs, and a better business environment.
Some other relevant stakeholders present expressed enthusiasm for the future of the sector.
And Our Excellency, you were in China a few days ago. You were luring the Chinese EV car factories to invest in Ghana. I think, at that time, if I have met you before you talk, you must speak for Zonda, say invest in Zonda, because you see, Zonda, we already have the factory here. For all of these factories to look for the land in Ghana and re-establish, it will take them 3 to 5 years. But if they invest in Zonda, it is only 2 months, 3 months.
What is new is that whenever we're thinking about ride-hailing in this market, access to vehicles, vehicle ownership, is one of the things that comes to mind as a barrier. The good thing is, with electric vehicles, we are able to bring down the price and the cost of ownership because, of course, you're not going to be fueling these cars with gas. They're not ICE vehicles. So for anyone who's interested, who is potentially concerned about any barriers to entry, that might be the expense of the vehicle or the expense of running the vehicle, we can say that now that the infrastructure, the charging infrastructure, is becoming more and more widespread in the country, we are able to offer a lower ownership, sort of total ownership cost of vehicles.
The Ghana Transport and Logistics Fair 2025 ended with a call for stronger partnerships between government, industry, and investors to accelerate Ghana's transport renaissance and position the country as a regional hub for trade and logistics.
A public hearing has been held in Keta to engage stakeholders on the proposed Port of Keta development project, a major infrastructure initiative spearheaded by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA. The hearing, held on Thursday, 23rd October 2025, brought together key stakeholders, including the Volta Regional Minister, traditional authorities, former members of parliament, officials from the Volta Regional Coordinating Council, representatives of state institutions, civil society groups, and residents of Keta and adjoining districts. The engagement formed part of the Environmental and Social Impact Assessment process in line with the Environmental Protection Act 2025, Act 112, and the Environmental Assessment Regulations 2025, LI 2504. Opening the session, the Chief Executive of the EPA, Professor Nanama Brown-Kluche, explained that the public hearing was necessitated by the project's potential environmental and socio-economic implications, including possible resettlements and broad public interest. She said the EPA remains committed to balancing environmental protection with sustainable national development, stressing that the purpose of the hearing was to ensure that affected communities and stakeholders were adequately informed and given the opportunity to express their concerns.
As the nation's environmental regulator, we wish to reaffirm our commitment to protecting the environment whilst protecting or promoting sustainable development. Our key objective today is to ensure that all stakeholders are adequately informed about the details of the proposed port projects and to provide an open platform for you to share your views, comments, and concerns for the proponents to address.
Speaking on behalf of the Director General of GPHA, Brigadier General Paul Seidu Tanye Kolonu, the Director of the Port of Tema, Tebon Zuma Esquire, outlined the strategic vision behind the project, describing the Keta Port as the country's third maritime gateway designed to complement the existing ports of Tema and Takoradi. He said the proposed port was envisioned as a major logistics and industrial hub that would promote trade with Ghana's Eastern Corridor neighbors, boost regional integration, and create thousands of direct and indirect jobs.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, under the guidance of the Ministry of Transport, has carefully advanced the planning and preparatory stages of this project. We have conducted technical, environmental, and socio-economic assessments to ensure that the project aligns with national standards and national development priorities. On environmental and social considerations, today's public hearing underscores our commitment to transparency, inclusivity, and environmental stewardship.
The board chairman of GPHA, Johnson Asiedun Ketia, described the proposed Keta Port as a transformational project that aligns with government's vision of building a resilient transport and logistics sector. He said the facility, when completed, would open new trade corridors to stimulate industrial activity in the Volta region and enhance Ghana's competitiveness as a maritime gateway in West Africa.
The government of Ghana, under the leadership of His Excellency the President, remains firmly committed to building a resilient transport and logistics sector that can anchor our economic competitiveness. The Keta port forms an integral part of this commitment, envisioned as the eastern port of Ghana, strategically complementing the operations of the Tema port and the Takoradi port.
The Volta Regional Minister, Honorable James Gunu, reassured residents that all concerns raised during the consultative process will be duly considered and addressed to ensure that the project benefits the people and protects their livelihoods.
Kakenya wana fefiade ye America le tatene wana ya abe simanola ne Ghana Port and Harbours Authority border ewepo ye nya President Mahama apetiti ye ela nkura ipo sobo ba etri atewato baya ba Keta
Honorable Gunu further appealed to the people of Keta and surrounding communities to offer their full cooperation and support to the government and the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority for the successful commencement and execution of the project.
As part of efforts to implement its core objectives, Ocean Centers Ghana has convened a multi-stakeholder workshop focused on addressing the challenges confronting Ghana's fisheries sector and charting a path toward improved safety and sustainability. The session, hosted by the UN Global Compact Network Ghana, brought together representatives from the Fisheries Commission, Ghana Maritime Authority, industrial trawler operators, canoe fishermen, seafarer unions, and Ghana Navy, among others.
And from the discussions here, we have realized that there needs to be a lot more collaboration between the agencies that superintend over the marine fisheries capture. You could tell that there are a number of regulations, but there needs to be synergies between those regulations. You can tell from the agitations of JITA, the Industrial Trawlers Association, that there is no synergy. They need to move to the GMA for a couple of certificates, move to the Fisheries Commission for a couple of certificates. All these things do not make businesses smooth. And from the side of the canoes, you heard them saying that up to now there is not even a safety code for the construction of vessels or canoes.
For us at the UN Global Compact, we believe we cannot have a sustainable solution to the challenges that are within the fishery sector without effectively engaging all relevant stakeholders. And today's conversation, that was one of the main issues that came up, where the representative of the fisher community felt they've been left out in most of the conversations and even the policies that we draft.
Panel discussions during the event explored strategies to reduce accidents at sea, ensure fair working conditions, and promote environmental stewardship in Ghana's fishing industry.
So, for me, where we stand with issues as an industry is not good at all. So that is what our focus should be as a country. Otherwise, we'll be put out of business. And looking at the oil and gas, we cannot still be felling timber for canoes. It is not sustainable, it is not eco-friendly. Now canoe is over 300,000 cedis for one.
The base camp is a regional information sharing platform where we share intelligence information. For example, we should find all the 6 member states, they share intelligence so that we know what is going on within our region. So if we can improve on the technological tools so that we can help improve on the safety within the region.
I think there should be a bank dedicated to the fishery sector that will understand
what fishing is.
Participants agreed that achieving lasting sustainability in the fisheries sector requires collaboration, compliance, and capacity building, with Ocean Centers Ghana serving as a unifying platform to drive that agenda.
Those were some updates from the port and the maritime industry. Hope you've been updated. But as Ghana pursues the vision of a 24-hour economy to drive productivity, exports, job creation, experts are actually calling for stronger focus on the blue economy and sustainable use of ocean and coastal resources for economic growth, improved livelihoods, and environmental health. This evening, we dive deep into currents of change shaping Ghana's blue economy. We'll navigate the intricate balance between economic ambition and environmental stewardship, examine innovative models, and drive growth, and hear from experts who are charting the course for Ghana's economic future. Thankfully, in the studio, I'm so privileged to be joined by the Executive Coordinator, Ports Environmental Network Africa, Dr. Harbours Daban. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So excited to have you here. And first of all, you have said that the blue economy should be central to Ghana's 24-hour economic agenda. I just want to find out from you, how do these two policy frameworks complement each other?
Thank you, Aisha. I guess that's a kind of interesting debate that we will have to look at. Now, if one talks about the blue economy, it focuses on sustainable use of the ocean, but also coastal and freshwater systems on one angle. And then on the other angle, if we talk about the 24-hour economy, it focuses on maximizing productivity across all the hours of the day. So you can see that these two are really very separate perspectives. That, but if we understood these and managed them together, they can be able to create a model of a continuous, sustainable productivity, in which it does align with economic growth, but also has the issue of environmental stewardship being taken care of, and then also create a social inclusion in the approach to this. So if we put these two together, we can be able to have economic systems that operate efficiently across space and time. For example, if you take port operations, if you take fishing, I mean, looking at all the blue economy sector, the various sectors under the blue economy, the port authority, the fishing, if you look at logistics, they could all be optimized around the clock. And their practical synergy in putting them together, therefore, lies in the ocean converging with time. So I call this a continuous time and space integration. And this really brings, creates the potential to define Ghana's transition into what I call a 24-hour blue Ghana.
A 24-hour blue Ghana. But from a national standpoint, from a national perspective, where do you think Ghana should prioritize? I'm talking about fisheries, I'm talking about tourism, offshore energy, you have logistics and all of that. Where should be our priority?
That's quite interesting. Now, for all these sectors that you've mentioned, each of them have their own core benefits. I mean, if you take ports, for example, it enables trade. If you looked at offshore energy, in fact, there's a huge potential that Ghana has not tapped into yet. If you looked at fisheries, it's really critical for food security, but also for employment and coastal livelihoods. But hey, as we just listened to the ocean program, the fisheries sector, for example, is hugely constrained by illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing.
The
IUU, but also overfishing, which is a challenge, and it needs to be really addressed. If you look at tourism, there's a huge growth potential for this, for domestic as well as international tourism. And also, if you pick logistics, I mean, it connects the ports and the shipping, but also trade and then generate employment and then support the value chain.
Okay.
So each of these have their own core benefits. But if we will have to prioritize, I think that we will have to look at the economic potential of each of the sectors, their sustainability readiness, and also employment that they will be able to generate, and then how they align with the national development agenda that we have as a country. For example, you can take the 2023 Blue Economy Strategy, but also the Coordinated Program for Economic and Social Development. My recommendation in prioritizing will be to have a phased approach.
Okay.
And for phase one, I would see that we want to pick on the immediate focus. So if you take the ports and logistics, if you take fisheries and aquaculture, they yield quick returns, quick economic returns. So for phase one, we won't have to prioritize the port sector together with the fishery sector, but also that of logistics, and then that's it. And then I will look at the phase two. That will become the medium-term expansion of whatever it is. And then here we can focus on the offshore sector and also tourism. Here we will then be able to have a sustainable diversification and resilience economy. And then the third phase, as a start, will be to then begin to focus on integration. In fact, this integration can already start under phases 1 and 2, because what this integration will seek to do is that it will help us build a systematic coordination across all the various sectors. And here it comes up again. My 24-hour Blue Ghana governance model comes in handy, and it will be able to ensure that our economic, it will accelerate our economic progress in ways that aligns with sustainability, but also aligns with 24-hour operational efficiency.
Okay.
And that is what I would want us to
I'm
look
quite
at.
excited that you've categorized all of them, like fisheries, energy, and tourism. You've categorized all of them and how they work under this. Let me ask you this. So you describe this as 24-hour
Blue Ghana.
Blue Ghana governance model.
Yep.
What are the key pillars, and how does it actually help bridge science policy and industry action? Because they are two separate things, but they have to work together.
Thank you very much. That's very true. So we're two different things, but they have to work together. This model tries to reimagine how blue economy can be managed in ways that aligns with Ghana's 24-hour economic vision, as we have already been talking about. The pillars that hold this together is the issue of continuous governance.
Okay.
So where we can have decisions and actions to be taken in real time, in ways that aligns with Ghana's, with industry and for communities, but also to ensure that sustainability gets embedded in the daily economic activities that we have. So that's one of the pillars. That's that continuous governance under this 24-hour Blue Ghana. And then also it brings about one of the pillars is to have an integrated system. What do I mean by this is that the model connects oceans and freshwater systems, but also that's all the economies that come under the blue economy, the fisheries, the ports, the tourism, shipping, whatever. It connects all of them into one coherent policy framework. And so that's what it is for the pillar of an integrated system. And then also on innovation and knowledge. So the model looks at science and research. And it does not, what we have is mostly we have all students doing all kinds of research. Once they finish the research, it's just packed onto the shelves.
Definitely.
So this model tries to use the science, the data, the knowledge to really come up with policies that are actionable. So that science becomes an integral part into the actions and policies that we have to use to drive the economy. And then also it has one of inclusivity and partnership. So it's not like the typical top-down government approach, so that the populace sits down there and they receive handouts or receive policy directions from the state. But it creates an avenue, a space where the state, private business actors, the communities, the academia, all come together, discuss issues, discuss what the issues really are, and then come out with solutions that are locally effective and owned by the people because they're included in the decision making, but also globally acceptable. And then also it also brings about accountability and transparency, because it's not one person sitting somewhere and telling us what to do. All actors that are connected become involved in the decision making, and then they own the process, so it's transparent, and people understand and accept what has to be done. So that's what the model seeks to do.
Okay, so now we're looking at resolving that problem of doing all the research, all the science, and then keeping it in the shelf. But right now, we want to do the research, but put it into practice. We want to practicalize all of this and make it implementable. What are the immediate interventions that we can implement in trying to drive this blue economy and 24-hour economy?
The immediate intervention that I can come up with is to establish a national 24 Blue Coordination Secretariat.
What's that about? Tell me.
So, this secretariat that will synchronize. If you take the Port Authority, for example, it has already taken the lead in doing 24/7.
Sure.
So it has started. Other sectors would also be looking at what they have to do, but it cannot be allowed to sit in silos. It has to be connected and integrated into one. So the national, this coordination secretariat, which I call the National 24 Blue or N24B coordination secretariat, would be able to bring about institutional clarity and become the foundation for coordinating all the activities that come within the blue sector and to be managed in a 24-hour approach. But then also, so if you take, like I already said, Tema and Takoradi ports have already started the 24-hour operations. But hey, they need to move on. For example, they could start green port pilots in which they will begin to start looking at low emissions in the port area by using existing solar facilities which they have in place, but also expand it because they would want to reduce the carbon footprint, but also undertake energy audits from now to begin to see where they can cut off and what they can change. And then also I look at shore power trials.
Okay, what's
that? Vessels come to the port and then they still have to put their engines are still on, and then they'll be emitting. Okay. So if we can begin to try to see, to do cold ironing, that is, have onshore power, so that when the vessels come to the port, they switch off their engines, but then they connect to power in the port, and then it also cuts down on emissions. So in all these things, it will be reducing emissions. But then also one thing that I find interesting that I think could also be done is to initiate a kind of green lane in the port. So the ships calling the port that satisfy environmental conditions, for example, gain priority in receiving services. And then the port begins to be labeled as an environmentally friendly port. And from that, you get ships also to turn around quickly.
That's quite interesting. But one recurring challenge that you highlighted is the weak institutional alignment between the ministries and agencies, right? What kind of reforms do you profile or suggest that we can implement to overcome this?
Yes. Institutional alignment is one thing that is very important. I mean, once institutions get fragmented, they become an obstacle to effective management of blue economy issues. So as I indicated already, because mostly the ministries and their agencies operate in their own silos, each one operates in ways that they want to protect their turf according to
Go ahead.
To advance and protect the mandates that they have, and they barely work together. And that's why the National 24 Blue Economy, the National 24 Blue Coordination Framework would be able to coordinate the planning and the budgeting and implementation of all these sectors in one way. And then also to have a kind of data system. So we create a kind of a 24-hour blue dashboard.
Yeah.
And this dashboard, it will link with the various sectors, and these sectors also include the local governments. I mean, the district assemblies, the metropolitan municipal assemblies. They are also they manage the municipalities and the districts in which the coastal areas find themselves situate, so that these data systems will link all of them together, and then to allow real-time data exchange, but also effective monitoring of whatever is happening. And then they can be able to make joint decisions, because with the data available, you can be able to agree on what has to be done and make decisions. But then also legislative alignment, because we have a situation where some existing laws do not really harmonize. So we will have to look at how these sectorial laws and mandates are, and then be able to get them to align and become coherent. And
especially in Ghana, I think we even have some that overlap.
Exactly.
So probably we may have to look at it, adjust, and streamline some of them.
Yes. And then I also look at one thing that I call capacity and culture change.
Okay.
I remember I used to work with the Port Authority, and I remember when I worked there, we had this kind of staff exchange with ports. So I, for example, had an attachment to the Port of Gambia.
Okay.
And there, I could bring my knowledge and expertise from the Port Authority in Ghana to there, and also pick from them and then bring it there. I also had an attachment also with the Port of Auckland, for example, and it was the same. You come back with huge knowledge, but then you exchange knowledge. Why can't we do this internally also? So that all the sectors that come under the blue economy can, from time to time, have staff exchange. Staff in the Port Authority could go and have some weeks or days or months of attachment with the Maritime Authority. Those from the fisheries, for example, could have some attachment from with the tourism sector. You do this, and then you get staff to begin to appreciate what takes place in the other organization. I say this because I give an example. I think about 2 years ago, in 2022 or 2023 thereabouts, there was this issue of differences in the ports and with the Ports Authority. It was between the Port Authority, the Maritime Authority, and Customs. And it was all about the handling of ship waste, so port reception facilities under the MARPOL Convention. There was a challenge. The operators of the reception facilities collect waste oil and garbage, and then they recycle. They treat the oily waste, separate the oil and water, and then what is the oil that comes out can be sold for other users. But Customs, according to their law, had to tax everything that passed through the port.
Most definitely.
Exactly. And the Port Authority is like, this is waste. How do you even tax it? Because it comes in huge volumes. Maybe you can get 30,000 tons of an amount. But it could contain water up to 29,000 tons, for example. So what is the basis for the taxing?
For the tax.
But hey, Customs was looking at the law. So what we did, my organization and the Port Authority, so we created a kind of stakeholder engagement, brought all these organizations together, including the Petroleum Authority and all the agencies, the police and all together. And then we started talking about the issues. You should be there. Everybody was protecting their turf. But that's how it starts. You get all these differences, but by the time you finish joining, some kind of understanding begins to
adjust.
Exactly. And then when we finished, we said, okay, now we've had this discussion, we are not yet there. Let's go out internationally. So we then went to the Netherlands, went to Rotterdam, worked with the Port Authority to see how they handle ship waste, how the different sectors and agencies work together with the reception facility operators to really get the system work. And trust me, Aisha, by the time we finished the 5-day program, there was so much understanding that Customs, the very organization that insisted on tax, rather even came out with a solution for the reception facility operators, what they should do. They said, in fact, even the law, these are companies that are providing environmental service. And so if they imported equipment into this country, they were entitled to rebate. They didn't know. And SEPs never pushed it because they didn't understand what it was all about. But when the knowledge came and they understood, they went, okay, we have been doing it wrong all this while. Now it's
we
this
know.
way. So can we get these operators to get together, form an association with one voice, and they begin to demand what it is? They are not going to ask for anything special. The law allows them to be entitled to it, but because they negotiated. Between the GMA and the Port Authority also, whatever difference they had, we had the modality to work harmoniously together. And so that's why I really look at this capacity, and I call it capacity and culture change. It's quite important. We need to get this also internally. If we need to get this blue economy to move on, also within a 24-hour sector, then what is one of the things that we can do to really break down the institutional challenge?
Yeah, you spoke about port infrastructure, and definitely the port of Tema is a port of call. And of course, if we're talking about 24-hour economy, definitely the port again is a port of call, because we've already started the operation. But if you look at the recent port expansion, for instance, it's one of the things that we can leverage, okay, to support a more diversified and sustainable blue economy. But how do we do this?
Thank you, Aisha. That's quite interesting. It's true, the port has infrastructure enormous, but the infrastructure currently is only looking at, how do I put it, as a cargo hub. So it's basically what ports are traditionally used to do, and that's it. So that's what, but this infrastructure could begin to be used in ways that go beyond cargo handling.
Okay.
It could turn the port could then use it to become a kind of multi-sector blue economy hub.
Okay.
That would host diversified blue economy clusters, including logistics, which already they are working with. Because some of this is already even existing. They have the ship repair yard, so the dry dock is already part of the Port Authority. Fish landing, the fishing ports are there. They are under the Port Authority. And then how these are processed, they could create a hub that puts all these things together, and then in a kind of value chain, they get involved in this, and then get them together, begin to use your facilities to trade this, and then they will move away from not only the cargo handling thing, but also be able to become a kind of a multi-sector blue economy hub. But also, they will have to look at accommodating blue innovation hubs, for example. You have the facility already, the infrastructure already, everything is there. So connect with institutions to start research. Open up to startups that want to come up with innovative technologies as to how things connected to the blue economy in the ocean can be done in a much better way using technology. The tech companies, they could also look at digital maritime technologies. And then, of course, doing this together with the universities and research centers to do it in real time. I also look at it, and in this way, the infrastructure the port has could then really be turned into a kind of a living innovation laboratory.
Yeah.
Because you test these ideas, you test these knowledge, you test these technologies, and then they can be scaled up. And that kind of thing to be done. And then I think these are a few that I can immediately think of, and then look at the port.
I think it all boils down to innovation.
Exactly.
And you call it institutional mediation and knowledge integration, right? How can government and the academia, in fact, you mentioned the universities who can help. I'm talking about how they can correlate or co-create locally grounded, yet globally relevant policy solutions.
Perfect. So that's exactly what the model I talk about, the 24-hour blue Ghana looks at. So it takes the blue economy on one side as, in simple terms, to simply define it, sustainable use and management of ocean and freshwater resources. So you use the ocean in ways that are within ecological limits so that you don't abuse it. So on one side, and then on the other side of the blue economy, I basically would, blue economy has been 24-hour economy has been two-thirds to mean night shift. But it goes more than that. It's not just night shift. It's a kind of continuous, continuous productivity. So reorganizing with shifts and flexibility. And then it brings about efficient utilization of existing infrastructure. So these are two things. They're separately, but if we if we get them together and then in a governance approach, we create this institutional mediation. So that's the hub, the center. That's why I'm calling for this, the establishment of the national 24-hour governance model, the national 24-hour coordination secretariat. So that secretariat is the secretariat that will bring all the different actors, so academia, those in practice, industry leaders, civil society, the communities, bring them all together in the settings, in the space where the knowledge is shared, data is provided, and then whatever comes out of this knowledge is translated. So in there we have the knowledge integration. So that is from bringing all the actors together to discuss the issues, and then whatever comes there is not allowed to sit there, but then they are translated into actionable policies, so that we don't have policies that are imposed, copied and pasted from wherever, but then these are the policies that have solutions that are relative to the situations on the ground. But of course, because it's coming from a science background, you get it to be globally aligned. And then you have workable solutions in ways that are purely Ghanaian, but then also proudly African. It's ours. We create it ourselves because we have what it takes. We just have to sit together and work together, and we will be able to do this.
In terms of research, innovation, and putting all of these together, technology, what role does institutions like the Maritime University, for instance, play in actually driving the next phase of the blue economy?
I think Ghana is really fortunate to have the Regional Maritime University situated here.
Tell me about it.
It's a regional organization, and of course, part of the United Nations system. And the Regional Maritime University can actually pioneer specialized training in areas such as marine robotics, digital innovation, as we have already talked about, but also to emphasize port environmental management as one of the causes that they do there. Yes, port environmental management, to really pick it up strongly. And then also to look at maritime cybersecurity.
True.
So these are things that they can pick up.
You're having all these piracy issues.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. And once they pick up this, they can now begin to act as innovation accelerators. And they don't have to do this alone. They do this in partnership with industry. And I believe if they come out and they want to do this, there's so much that the industry will be willing to work in hand with them, because the solutions that come out will be useful for industry in the use of their work. And then also to begin to not only look at the strict jacket, academic kind of stuff, but also begin to look at applied research. With applied research, you use evidence-based, you come up with evidence-based policy decisions, which will really be informed by real data. And then they should really step out there in partnerships, not only locally, but also internationally. And they'll be able to hold the hand of Ghana.
I can see that a lot of messages are coming in, and some of them are even calling. Let me restate the WhatsApp number, which is 053-803-7353, 053-80-37353. That's the WhatsApp line, and we'll be opening the phone lines very soon. We would put that also on your screens if you want to call in, but please don't call the WhatsApp line. I'll be putting the call line so that you can make your calls. I've seen a few messages coming in, a few of your messages. Let me try and read this one. Okay, I'll try and get that one. There was one question for Doc. I'll get that one quickly for you. But before I get that for you, earlier you spoke about how very important it is to get, exchange ideas with other countries. And you even gave an example of how you resolved an issue by having all these tete-a-tete with other countries. I just want you to highlight more on what lessons actually we can learn from other countries with this blue economy and how they've been able to, work around it to maximize their benefits?
Yeah, I would, right. The blue economy thing actually came from demand from small island states regarding because they have less resources, but then it's key for them. The blue economy becomes key for them, and then eventually it got properly highlighted and framed during the Rio plus 12 meeting. And so I would look at closer to us, two small island states, like Seychelles and Mauritius, for example, have really focused on a strong ocean governance, and they have under one national strategy systems that link fisheries together with tourism and energy. Because we should know that you cannot do everything at the same time. So the country itself will have to look at what it wants to do. And the example from Seychelles and Mauritius is quite interesting that they picked up. We want to do ocean governance, but then we want to focus on the areas of fisheries and tourism, but also energy. And they were able to put these three sectors under the blue economy in a common national strategy. So these are properly linked. And then I would also want to look at maybe emerging African coastal countries, maybe Kenya and South Africa. Yes, these are emerging.
Yeah.
They have really also focused on building regional cooperation with innovation. So they don't work in isolation, but work together to be able to develop innovation where, in fact, academia, so like what I've been emphasizing, where academia, government, and industry, they work together to co-create solutions.
Okay.
There's no way any one particular sector can do it on its own. It has to be done co-creatively, and then if that happens, the actors will then own the process, and then they will own the outcomes, and then it can work well for us. So these are two examples I can really say. But these countries have not really done it because they have more resources or anything. No, they have been able to do it because they have focused on coherence.
Okay.
They are focused on continuity. They are focused on collaboration.
Okay.
And that is what has brought it. And Ghana can do it.
Yeah.
Ghana can do it. It does not matter whatever it says.
So this is a message coming from Frank from Keta. He says, Doc, this blue economy you're talking about sounds very broad. How can we make sure the ordinary fisherman or market woman at the coast actually benefits from it? That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Very interesting. In fact, one of the things as I developed this concept, I was also looking at they kind of, it looks as if they are remote, but they are not remote. The government itself may have to launch a kind of communication agenda.
Okay.
And then bring what it takes, what it entails to these communities. It's all about communication. It's all about awareness raising. Otherwise, they hear it and these are only jargons in their ears. But the truth is that it's practical to them, for they are doing the day-to-day activities that we expect them to do, but it has to be harnessed and then be put together properly that it will become efficient. So one of the things that I would immediately talk about in response to this is that the government has a role to play now to start outdoor, launch a kind of communication strategy approach to bring the knowledge to the fore of the people. Institutions can also do it. GPHA is already looking at Kita Port expansion.
Yep.
Would it take advantage of this to begin to already start educating the people and bringing them, making them aware?
Yeah.
The Regional Maritime University could create short programs.
And you'll be amazed the kind of knowledge that the community people have in actually, the inputs that they can make to make this whole thing progressive. I mean, just these last few days, we had an engagement about this Keta Port with the people in Keta, and amazing suggestions that they put forward. So yes, I believe it's very important. It's very important. Right, so this is from Frank from Keta So there's a lot of more of your messages coming, and those of you putting through the calls on our WhatsApp lines, let me give you the phone lines that you can call on, and that will be after this break. It's 0245-834980, 0245-834980. That's the line that you can call to share with us your suggestions, your comments, and your questions if you have one. But when I return from this break, we'll go more into this community thing. How can young people and coastal communities be equipped with the skills to actually participate meaningfully in this new ocean-based economy? And of course, beyond the coast, we also have to look at how the inland communities can be engaged to participate in all of this. Stay with me, I'm coming right back.
Brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP, available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefeel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifu, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water. Or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena. You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately. There you have it. Serena is not just a tool, it's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302 246319 or 0302 246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. Efiba is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
Welcome back to Iron Port. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Before I went on that break, I told you that you can also join in the discussion, and the numbers to call is 0245-834980, 0245-834980, and you already know the WhatsApp numbers to send in your comments, suggestions, ideas, 0538-037353, 0538-037353. Join in the discussion, and then if you have questions to Doc is here, he can respond to them. And quickly, let me take this from Amma from Tema, who says that what can young people studying at the Maritime University or technical universities do now to position themselves for jobs in this blue economy? Remember, when we're going for the break, we spoke about how we can equip the youth with skills to position themselves for this new economic era.
Yeah, it's good that the youth are already thinking about it. So you realize that the market is already available.
Yeah.
So there's demand.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, one of the things they need is education and skills training.
Yeah.
And I guess if the curricula that we have currently, from basic to tertiary level, could begin to integrate ocean literacy,
okay,
marine technology, environmental entrepreneurship, for example, and then the technical, then these universities can prepare students to get into the world of blue economy. It can also be done for the vocational and technical institutes as well.
Yeah,
where they could prepare them for jobs on sustainable fisheries, but also ecotourism, but also on coastal engineering, but also renewable energies. So if the curriculum integrates these into it, it will get students exposed to what is available for them out there. And mind you, these then become related to our economy and where we want to go. And then we prepare the generation to come ready to take over from us when we are not here. Education and skills is important. But then also the creation of innovation hubs and incubation centers. It's very, very important. The young ones, the Gen Zs, the millennials, these people are tech savvy.
Yeah.
And so if those in the coastal areas, the young ones could get into these centers, and the fishers all to get them involved in research institutions at their own levels, in their own ways, they will be able to get the knowledge and then adapt it in the way local things are done.
I'm much more interested in practicalizing whatever we learn at the universities.
Exactly.
I mean, these are fine courses you talk about that the young people can go read them at the technical universities, maritime universities, what have you. But how do we practicalize it so we don't go just read theory and come back and sit home, and then when we are confronted with the challenge, the issues, then we're found wanting?
Thank you, Aisha. If you're teaching students with marine technology, for example, they are not just going to be reading the books and end it there. As part of their project, as part of their education, they have attachments, they have internships, they have exercises that gives them hands-on exposure to what they are learning, how to practicalize it. So it is the content of the curriculum that will prepare them, and then get them attached to available institutions where these are available. If there are innovation hubs, for example, it's a hands-on having innovation is a hands-on idea because you bring the ideas that you have to think of what problem there is and what solutions you can bring about using tech. So innovation centers available for them, they can be able to get in there and then do hands-on work to bring solutions that will help us. But also the issue of community co-governance. So they're not just left in the communities to sit and wait. You come and do what you had in Keta last week, and environmental,
or something.
Before they get to know what is known, they are involved and trained in policy advocacy, for example. They are involved in how to do environmental monitoring. They are involved in how to do resource management for those kind of things. These are practical things. You get them, give them the knowledge, but then you get them also different, get them practice it, and then they acquire the skills. That's very important. And of course, once you give them access to digital technologies, hey, the world is already available for them. The knowledge they have there, and then being guided in what they do in school, they'll be creative in what they have to do.
Okay.
They bring out. So it's not the typical pupil pass examination kind of things, but it is integrated with practical work.
Okay.
And then they be able to stimulate their thinking.
Okay. So earlier there was a question about how fishermen and market women can also be part of this whole economy. And that's where my question is going to. Beyond the coast, how can inland communities and private sector actually be engaged to participate in this whole blue economy and also share in the benefits and opportunities?
I think inland communities are not really isolated from the coast, no?
Okay.
Inland communities can actually host value chains that are connected with products that come from the blue economy, like fishes, for example.
Yeah.
You don't need to do the smoking only in the coastal areas. If we had cold storage facilities provided in inland communities,
yeah,
they will be able to have the storage there. They have the facilities. If you get cooperatives that smoke the fish, for example, in inland communities, they would also be able to smoke fish, not only in the coastal areas, but also in inland communities. This would help address the issue of post-harvest losses.
Okay.
And then you create that opportunity. So they are connected in that way. But then also, inland communities can also become kind of a zone for aquaculture produce, for example. They will be able to produce the feed that is needed for aquaculture and fishes, for example. For aquaculture, for example,
okay,
using local things like the maize, the millet, the cassava, and then they create feed that would be used in feeding aquaculture.
Okay.
For example, that also gets there. And then also, like we're talking about, evidence-based applied research would also be there for them. And then SMEs, the small and medium-scale enterprises, can use the inland communities to produce equipment and the kind of machinery, like the magazine, Kumasi. It sits in Kumasi. It doesn't sit on the coast. It's an inland community.
Okay.
But they'll be able to provide the equipment and resources that is needed in the coastal areas for advancing production in the blue economy.
Okay.
And so these are ways that they can get connected. It doesn't always have to be the formal thing that is there, but of course, there should be an initiative, and then people will jump on it and then do what has to be done. In partnership with the private investors, with the banks will be there to support them what to do. If they have a good proposal, they are helped with drafting good proposals, for example.
Okay.
Then they get connected into, and also inclusive education awareness, like I said earlier on. Once they get to know, I believe in this thing that teach people why they should do what, and they themselves will find the how.
Okay.
So it boils down to education awareness raising. Once they get understanding, they will search for the how to get connected.
To get connected.
So get them involved.
I'm wondering how a successful, well-integrated blue economy will look like for Ghana 10 years from now. Do you know?
Oh, okay. So I guess successful in practice. I guess, if the ports, for example, it comes in easier, continue with what they are doing. 10 years from now, we should be able to have a port that is not just 24-hour, but it is green. 24-hour, but also a smart gateway that has low emissions. It is digitally coordinated, and also it has predictable night shifts. So, of course, the port has always done it, but it will be more stable, more institutionalized, but then also less congestion that comes in there with quick ship turnaround.
Okay.
So if these things are done properly, 10 years from now, we should see a port that is green.
All of these seem nice. I mean, they sound nice in my ears. How do we achieve this?
It's readiness. Okay. So one of the things I told you, I looked at the pillars.
Yeah.
Is the readiness to do it. Because once the port is ready, we are ready to work together. It cannot do it on its own. Work together, develop a framework, and then look at what resources are available. How do we utilize them? What don't we have? How do we get what we have? It's a process. And then we'll be able to go. It just doesn't drop from the sky. There should be an intentionality to make it work. And then it should be. If you pick the fisheries, for example, fisheries and aquaculture, they can begin to look at something that I call get certified value chains. There's already something happening there already.
Okay.
Begin to look at getting night processing cooperatives so that there's a shift. I mean, those who are smoking, the lights are off, it's night, and therefore we cannot work anymore. What resources can we put in place so that they can still be able to work overnight? So that when others are working, others are sleeping, but then there's continuity. It will guarantee us food security in the fisheries sector, for example. But not only that, but also exploring offshore wind, for example.
Okay.
It will help us to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. Then the economy will become much better and greener. And to power the ports, I mean, the ports, for example, the port already has some kind of solar panels on some of their buildings. This could be scaled up so that it doesn't become only the Port Authority, but all the other private businesses in the port could be encouraged to now begin to install solar panels. It will cut down already hugely energy consumption in the port and make us more green.
Okay.
And then, rooftop stuff. And these are things, these are practical, these are hands-on. You don't need the magic to get it done. But there should be the intentionality. And then you draw a roadmap. So it takes time, definitely. It's not a kind of a magic wand. It takes time. But like I told you, what has happened in the economies in Kenya, in South Africa, in Seychelles, elsewhere, it has been with commitment, continuity, coherence, and collaboration. You can't miss out on these things and think you will succeed. It has to be done in that way.
So Blue Economy or Blue Economy Commission or Blue Economy Authority, I don't know which one you prefer, but how should their work, or what should be the nature of this, public agency?
I think I will definitely go for Blue Economic Commission, which I think is what has been proposed from what we are reading, what has been proposed to cabinets, expecting it to be approved. And I think it should be the central public body that will drive the coordination of all that we are talking about. Blue economy, you then put it in isolation. Blue economy plus the government's vision of 24-hour economy in the blue 24 blue Ghana that I talk about. So this body will then do the coordination, ensure the policy coherence. I already talked about the fragmentation that we have. So this commission will begin to look at this, review what is there and what has to be done so that they'll be able to get a coherence. And then also ensure accountability across all the sectors. Their focus, for me, should be strategic coordination. They don't get into the micromanagement, but strategic coordination and ensure that things work, but also focus on policy integration. Because if we don't get the policies integrated, we don't get it anywhere. We will still be sitting in siloed approaches to doing things. And then as we have already been talking about, the knowledge and innovation. So they will be able to coordinate, bring the scientists together, bring the practitioners together, bring the communities together, bring the women together, bring whoever is connected and has a role to play together to generate the knowledge and then work together with them in innovating solutions. And then also regulation and monitoring. They don't just do the strategic coordination and leave it there. they get into regulating what is happening in the sectors, and then they monitor so that you'll be able to see how things go. Okay. And then at least they should also, we can't ignore investment facilitation.
Okay.
The government may not have the money, but when there are good proposals of what has to be done, this commission should be able to facilitate to get investors into
So if you had the opportunity to actually leave, let's say, government, industry, academia, with one action or one urgent call to action, what would that be?
I think for the government, its role is to coordinate. It has come up across because it is the one who bears and holds the vision. The government has a responsibility to drive it.
Yeah.
So be the enabler. So the government should lead the coordination by setting up clear long-term strategies. And these strategies must align with what the ministries and their agencies do, and also empower the local authorities, but also ensure that these policies are not just coming from somebody's intuition or some emotional whatever, but they are backed by science. And then ensure that there's inclusive participation. Because when there's inclusive participation, you can get accountability. And then you can get people committed to what there is to be done. And that's what I expect the government to do. For industry, of course, it's about investment. So industry will have to clearly begin to look at investing in cleaner technologies, not clean up later. You clean, technologies that are very clean, and then be conscious about reducing marine pollution, and then build business models that really look at, that balances profit and the environment. Okay. And not only that, but also looking at the societal well-being. So it's not only about the profitability of the business. That profit must connote that they are making profit, but society is becoming better. The well-being of society is being looked at, and the environment is not being destroyed. It is rather being enhanced. And here I emphasize that I'm not talking about what we businesses in Ghana call corporate social responsibility as a kind of business as usual. No. I'm talking about businesses making sustainability a core part of their business. Yeah. And that's it for me. That's what business may have to do. And then for academia, yes, they should not continue sitting only in the ivory tower. I know a lot of universities and institutions now are really looking at bridging knowledge and action. And that's what I expect universities to do, so that their research will speak to real-world challenges and then bring real-world solutions with opportunities that inform policy and guide how innovation can be done.
Okay.
All of these put together will be able to train and prepare the next generation to really manage our ocean and freshwater systems in a very sustainably but productive way. And that's what we want to talk about, Monday. Not only sustainability, but also productivity, efficiency.
Oh, okay. So Lydia sent us a question, but I'm afraid we're running out of time. We may not be able to, but I think you've already addressed part of it. We hear talk of a Blue Economy Commission being set up. What exactly will they do differently from the existing ministries? I think you've already mentioned how it should look like and what should be their focus. 24-hour economy.
Yeah, but Lydia, I want you to understand that she refers to what is different. We don't want to see this commission to become another bureaucratic layer.
Yeah.
No, it shouldn't do that. Okay. And that's why we emphasize on being a strategic institution, but central. Not to become a bureaucratic layer, but to make sure that bureaucracies are bridged and then work together.
Okay, so Blue Economy, 24-hour economy, this, I believe, is a conversation that will continue as we strike the balance between the two for a strong economy. Thank you so much, Dr. Harry Barnes Daban. He is Executive Coordinator, Port Environmental Network Africa, PNAF. Thank you so much for the insights. It's been great having you on Ion Port. Remember, Ion Port is brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Gold PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. And the show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. I mentioned to you that our business partner is the Business and Financial Times BNFT. And of course, you can catch the repeat on GTV at 8:30 on Wednesday for more on this one. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend.